Damn, son, where'd you find this?
People don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad.
One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who act like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lied.
That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late. They cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll tolerate it.
Hold on a minute. Yo, what up? Happy Thursday. What's the word? How everybody feeling tonight? Thank you for being here. Appreciate your time. Salutes to everybody that came through earlier. The shout outs to Sid. Shout outs to my poets, my writers, my content creators. The list is long. I hope you're staying warm. I hope you made it home safe and sound. You see the title. I got the clip. I got Coach in the building. I got Zay in the building. I'm gonna bring them up. Do me a solid, like, share, repost. Let the people know that we are on. Let's go ahead and get everybody up on the screen real quick. Yo. What up?
What up? You got it? What up?
What's up? What's up, everybody?
Yeah, man. How y'all gentlemen doing?
Good. Feeling great, man. Just good to be here with the brothers again.
Yeah.
I sent this to y'all earlier, but I want to share this with the people. I'm gonna say my feelings. All I'm gonna say is, man, you won't believe it until you see it. That's all I'm gonna say. Sometimes you think that a person is exaggerating, but nah, this right here, I don't know. I got mixed emotions about it, so I'm just gonna bring it up on the big screen. It's not a real long clip though. I'm gonna let it play out and then we'll go from there. Let me see. Let's go ahead and start here. Yeah, we don't do that. And let me get this up here real quick on the big screen.
I'll send you a deep for the rest. No, you don't know.
Hey, who else fucking dick?
I'll send you a deep for the rest. No, you don't know.
I just wanted to play that twice just in case somebody missed it. I'm not really familiar with who he is, but I'm just gonna go ahead out on a limb and say that he's a rapper and he must be pretty known. I guess this was an event, and one of his fans, she wanted to express her appreciation for his talents in her own unique way. Initial thoughts on the video itself.
Go ahead, Zay. Give.
Honestly, I was low key a little lost. The video was so quick I didn't really quite catch it. But what I can tell from a little bit that I saw was that it's giving groupie, maybe. I don't know. You might have to run that video back real quick.
Okay. Let me see. I think it was pretty simple, man. She seen the dude. I guess he was leaving from wherever he was leaving from. She saw her opportunity to call him out. But I'll play it one more time. Like I said, it wasn't a real long clip. You gotta listen real close to what she's saying though. It was just a few words. Hold on, let me scroll this back. Bring this up here. All right, hold on a minute. All right, big screen, big screen. And pay close attention to what she say.
Hey, who else fucking dick?
I'll send you a deep for the rest. No, you don't know.
Hey, who else fucking dick?
I'll send you a deep for the rest. No, you don't know.
I'll suck you from the back. She's in a car with three other women, mind you. He just left a concert. They pull up on him, and that's pretty much what you got from it.
You gonna take a swing at it, Zay?
Yeah, nah, I saw it through and through. Yeah, it just confirmed what I said. It's given that she was a groupie. That she was trying to get what she can get out of him. You don't know like what the ulterior motive was behind that. It could be something beyond what she just said. You know, someone, especially from a rapper that, is well known, you never know what their intentions might be.
What about you, Coach?
Man, there's a lot to unpack. I'm interested to see where you want to go, which direction you want to go in. I know we're going to talk about a little bit of self-worth and some value. I know we're going to talk about the cultural norms, about these influencers glamorizing one night stands, and I'm just interested to see which direction we're going to go, because it's twofold. Like Zay mentioned, the young man's a rapper, and then the flip side, I thought Sid was going to show up tonight and partake, because it's either women's empowerment or objectification going on right here, right? So we can pivot one or two ways. So I'm just interested to see which way the conversation is going to go. The video, it was disgusting, to be perfectly honest with you. But let's just see which way this topic is going to go. I'm definitely interested. Good pick, and let's get it on.
So the reason why I chose this one, and I've been holding this video for a while, is because you hear these conversations about women empowerment. You hear these conversations about not categorizing all women in certain boxes. You hear conversations about men being in women's business when it comes to certain things that they publicly put out here for the world to see. And it's like, all right, we can do this one way or another. Either we can just sit back and pretend like we don't see what we see and continue to let it get out of hand, or we can actually address the elephant in the room. And we're definitely going to go cover a couple of things. What I absolutely thought about when I first saw the video was your family must be so proud of you. Must be so proud of you. Where did you get that attitude from? That mindset from? Why do we worship and idolize celebrities this much, to the point to where you will literally disrespect your entire being just for an autograph, just to taste their sweat? Like, you know you're going on the internet, right, for hundreds and thousands of people to watch and see how you basically just said, all right, I don't really care what nobody think. This is what I want to do with my body. It's my choice. This is my life. If I want to exercise my rights to be what's the word I'm looking for? Adventurous with my promiscuity, then I'm gonna do it. But I also don't want you to judge me for it. But I also want you to accept it as cultural. I also want you to accept it as, well, if men can be thirsty and have their tongue hanging out after every single female they see, then why can't we get up here and say, well, I want to get trans ran on me, or I want to suck a couple of penises if push come to shove. Highly disappointed in that clip, because it just reminds me constantly of what a person is willing to do for attention, for love, for validation, for acceptance. So I guess my question is this women exercising their right to be equal? Is this what feminism stood for? Is this what feminism was supposed to represent? Anyone?
Go ahead, Zay. Take a swing at it. I'll let you go first.
Nah, I don't think that at all. I think that, you know, women gotta be really, Me personally, I don't like to judge, you know, but something should be kept in a way where you don't, put yourself in a negative light. Like I feel like doing that out in the open in front of people is just I feel like it's don't you feel like it's bad for your soul? Like I don't mean to get like that deep into it, but it's
Hey,
just
take it where you gotta take it, baby. Don't worry about it. We'll figure it out. Just do what you gotta do.
it's just some women just need to keep things at a wholesome level. As us men, we try to every day. We don't go out here saying, sometimes, there are some men out there that, are out there and out of pocket, but some women, we look for wholesome women, in my opinion. Like, am I right or wrong?
You're definitely right, man. And some of the things is it's unfortunate. It's because it seems like every day, every recap, everything that we look at, it gives us another thing to point out about individuals not necessarily knowing their worth and their value. And it's unfortunate because it seems like again, it as you guys mentioned earlier, it goes back towards these figures that are online and in the limelight and who they're striving just to be accepted in their eyes. And I think that's something again that we can look at. It's definitely got to be an issue within the culture, uh, because it would be different if they were doing something positive and we were promoting that. But we can the reoccurring trend seems to be us talking about the negativity that's going on and how it's not necessarily positivity in the community, but some form of destruction and some form of looking for validation outside of themselves. So it seems like they tend to get farther and farther away from looking and building within themselves and looking for that validation outside. And I don't know, do you think between the three of us, I think we got a large enough generational gap. Do you think it's something that's there's something missing, something that's not necessarily being passed down, or something that's possibly not necessarily being looked at from the younger generation to the older generation? Maybe a lack of respect, a lack of appreciation, or a lack of acknowledgement of something that has or has not happened, and then just communication in totality. Would love to hear both of you guys' points of views on
A lack of built to ass. As far as I'm concerned, I'm Old Testament. Don't spare your child from the rod. You like real talk. These kids bad as hell, man. They don't respect adults. They don't. They don't. Like when I was growing up, you could not talk back to your elders. I don't care if it was a teacher. I don't care if it was the lunch lady. I don't care if it was a neighbor. I don't care if you was in the store and you was in the line. You do not talk back to your adults in general. And so much of those older ways they've been lost because of fear of going to jail or having your kids taken away from you or you being smitten or smitten, if that's the word, by your job because oh it looks bad on your resume if you hit your kids or discipline your kids when really it's you disciplining your kids. It's not abuse. So you take away discipline, however that may look for you. You take the word out of it. You replace and supplement the tribe and the family for MTV and BET and Tyler Perry. You give them a distraction, and then they raise themselves off of what South Central, Boys in the Hood, Scarface, you living your life vicariously through these fictional characters, even though a lot of it does have truth to it, but it's like, all right, nobody is saying, nah, you don't talk like this to nobody. That's not proper language. That's not how you're supposed to carry yourself as a little girl. That's not how you're supposed to represent and bow down or bend down and curtsy. And this is not how you're supposed to wear a dress. And it's a lot of dysfunction in the household. And it goes back to the parents not really wanting to be parents like that. You know, you have the fun, but you don't want to partake in the things that require the other individual who didn't ask for your extracurricular activities. You're forcing them to learn on their own. Like, well, you're here. I'm gonna feed you and I'm gonna put stuff in the refrigerator and keep the electric and the power and the water on, but in terms of life and how you're supposed to navigate it, I'm gonna kind of leave you to your own vices. Ain't no way in the world your child should ever, ever speak like that. If this is in the confines of your household, your husband, or something like that, I get it. But to be chasing it out in public openly, freely, oh, suck your dick from the back. What? How old? And it's four of you in this car. All of you on the hunt for what? What are you riding around for? You just happen to know that this man is here. He got money. He got some clout, some celebrity. You don't love yourself enough to understand that that man, or maybe you do know that man is looking at you like you're a passer on, and then he's going to move on to the next person, but you don't care because of how less of value you have for yourself. I don't know. That shit is crazy to me, man. So I think it's a combination of lack of parenting. I think again we keep going back to society and social media playing a big role in this. Yeah, those like that's my thoughts on that.
So you agree that society and social media plays a role, but also lack of accountability. Zay, what about you? How do you feel about what he said with the initial question, if you remember, and also add your own 2 cents in there?
I feel like there's a lack of awareness for oneself. Like for women always say they have such a strong sense of spirituality, but when it all comes down to it, women that does the work, because we all in tune with our spiritual side. If we do the work, it would show. But if you don't do the inner work, you're gonna be thrown into every situation trying to pretty much just put down your values and your ethics. When you're aware, you know what you're gonna say before you even say it. When you're aware of your environment, when you're aware of within yourself, when you're aware with the people around you, you think about you think about your thoughts before you even say it. So I just feel like when you're not aware, things can go wrong in every situation that you're thrown into. That makes sense.
No,
I got you.
absolutely. Absolutely. Go ahead. What you say? I agree. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, if this is a family member of yours, you see this, and you hear it. What's your reaction? What's your response? Or do you even respond to it? Is it that big of a deal to you? Or do you say, well, it's not necessarily my daughter or nothing like that. That's let them deal with that. I mean, like, what do you see it more than just tonight? Like, this ain't, come on, this ain't the first time we done seen something like this before. But my thing is, see, I don't really pay no mind no more. I kind of just scroll by it and it's like, here we go again with this shit. I get tired of seeing it. I get tired of hearing it. Right? It's just, it's sad to me. What's your reaction to it? Like, does it bother you that women move like this or carry themselves like this, or do you even care? Is it something that we should even be bothered with?
So I guess that answer can be answered into man. There's multiple answers for that. Do you have a daughter? Do you have a sister? You know what I mean? Who is it exactly? Is it that you may be able to relate with this young lady and say, hey, I'm trying to make a difference in somebody's life so that they don't necessarily go out and engage and act like that person does in public. And then it's about being proactive versus reactive, right? So some of the things you have to think about when you're empowering somebody, or are they in an environment to be objectified, is the type of positive attributes that you give them, right? So you listen to some older gentlemen, they may give compliments a certain way, and then you may hear the sass, you may hear the undertone, the underlying things, and what they're saying in a demographic of men, typically from, let's say, 55 to 70, right? And then you talk about underneath that demographic, and then underneath that one, everybody has a way of communicating a certain way. So through different nuances and experiences, you may have realized some of the older gentlemen in the ages between 50 and 75 may say certain things to some people that may be uncomfortable, but that's just naturally typical water cooler type conversations they had in their era. Then you look at your demographic, growing up in the 90s, 2000s with rap music, hip hop. A lot of people say there was a lot of catcalling and stuff going on. And then you look at the younger generation now, let's say, Zay, your generation up until ours, it might be a certain way that y'all engage, and that engaging might be online. But everybody has a different way of engaging with their demographic or the type of individuals that they're trying to engage with. So I think you would have to try to get an understanding that she's young, the people in the vehicle were young. So some of the things you can look at, and this is, I keep talking about empowerment versus objectification. A lot of women say they want to be, in charge, or they want to be running the household nowadays and certain things. They want to be empowered, but at the same time, you'll see a video like this, they objectify themselves to somebody in the video. So how can I invest it and entrust and empower you to try to uplift you and build you, and then you're objectifying yourself and showing the lack of value or self-worth that you have. And then not only that, she was in the vehicle because you mentioned with 3 other young ladies. So by her being in the vehicle with 3 other people, are they empowering her in that relationship and then just viewing her as a trophy versus an equal, because she's soliciting and saying she'll perform extracurricular activities in a very encourageous way to keep you motivated and dedicated to the cause. So they could have easily just course corrected her in it and said, hey, look, don't conduct yourself that way, or don't project us in that way. But if they didn't do it, that's a way of them enabling that behavior. So then it goes back to what we talked about earlier, is looking at the environment that you're in, being about balance. And if you're around some people, and this is something that men are typically good at, you may have 4 people in a group. Somebody who might have a temper to be easily set off, and somebody's there to calm that person down. Somebody that might be easily motivated to do some other things, and they have that accountability partner to calm them down. So men are typically good at those things of having that balance around. And so you would think in that video, that's the type of things that you would be looking for. And we talk about, again, empowerment versus objectification. And that's within the same sex. It's because that's a group of young ladies together that they're either doing one or the other. And that's not the balance that we're talking about or we're looking for.
You got 4 women driving around. One yells out the window. She makes it perfectly clear. When I listen to her, I hear a distinction that cannot be confused with anything else. That same attitude, that same approach that she had, it's like speaking to a former avatar before her get passed to another generation. Nobody in the car says anything to her, which to me means that all of you share in the same type of ideologies as she does. There's no way in the world I'm going to have you yelling obscenities like that outside of my vehicle. And I'm not going to have you looking dumb like that in the general public. Your friends are a representation of you and vice versa. They always say you are who you hang around. And I hear people say, oh, just because she's like that or just because he's like that, that don't mean I'm like that. Well, what do you think guilty by association is? Right? You might not necessarily be a part of it, but the odds are probably high. If I'm a gambling man and I got to consider you for a serious business partner or relationship, and I see who you associate with yourself, I'm always going to have in the back of my head, have you done anything similar to what they speak about? Do you act like them behind closed doors? I don't know. It's weird to me. We all hypocrites in some way, though. My problem with this is you don't want to be judged, but you want to judge people. You want to be taken serious, but you don't take yourself serious. You don't want to be held accountable, but then you want to try to hold other people accountable for their activities and their ventures. It don't work like that. And the idolatry, it rears its head time and time again, and you don't look good at all when you do it. You look like a fool. You look like a whole idiot doing that shit. Imagine bowing down to somebody, kissing their feet. They're a whole human being. They put their pants on and take them off just like you do. They have the same gifts and talents as you do, but you sitting up here treating them like they the Messiah. The only difference is you're degrading your whole self. You what? You say you about to goggle a whole what? You really mean that though? Huh? And you said it proud. You said that like you had dignity behind that. Then you have conversations where we talk about this stuff. Oh, you're sassy, you're this, you're that, you're that. Nah, there's a serious problem here. A serious one. You're not good enough for your own champion, for your own king, for your own husband, for your own Prince Charming? What's missing here? What's going on to the point where I don't know. I don't know. The fancy things, the jewelry, the stars and the lights and all. Y'all really be mesmerized by that stuff, man. And that's what be getting us in trouble way too often. Zay, let me ask you a question. With what you've seen here and what you've observed over the course of years on social media, why do we have such a imbalance of accountability partners when it comes to women in these arguments? Like for real, it shouldn't be us talking about this. It should be women up here talking about stuff like this, and you rarely see it.
All right, so I hope I don't get no hate for saying this, but I feel like there's a lack of accountability because they worry too much about us and what we can do for them. Whereas they should put that same energy that's focused on us towards themselves, and then there wouldn't be much of a problem.
So do y'all think it's a competition thing? They so concerned about trying to keep up with our finances and our lifestyles. And do you think women are trying to be men? I mean, because that right there, that came off hella masculine to me. Oh, I want to soak your what? And then she had the bass in her voice and everything. And she's like, we used to ride around and shit on Friday nights and Saturday nights with our drink and all that. And if we seen something that we was trying to set up a date with, we yelling and screaming out the car. That sounded just like that. It sounded just like a dude trying to holler at somebody that you see at the bus stop or something like that. Do you think women are trying to compete with men, and this right here is just them cosplaying as men because they see men do it all the time, so they think it's okay to do it too?
Yo, man, brilliant question, right? I think what the issue is that's exactly it. I think it's more or less not less that they're trying to be men, they're just trying to inflict the pain onto men that they felt from men. And that's where so many things get caught and lost in translation is it's I think a lot of times men do things, out of thinking logically. How do we figure out how to navigate and do certain things? There's not a lot of emotion involved in a lot of thought. And then that's where the separation comes into play, is they're so busy, hell-bent on trying to get back, trying to make you feel what they felt, that's where some of the things make it get caught up. It's too much emotion in the thought process. A lot of times, men are trying to figure things out by not having a father figure, not having the right person to help them out, not having the right mentor to point them in the right direction. And the accountability piece comes in when you accept that and you understand and say, you know what? Oh, shit. I probably didn't follow the right person, or the right person probably did give me the right advice. Now, they, on the other hand, might have been guided or shown how to strive and how to survive and just how to coexist, but they've been hurt in the process. And sometimes they just want their lick back. And that's what it seems to be so much about in 2024, 2025 is, like you just asked the question about feminism, you just asked the question about being how macho. Yeah, the shock factor to hear a woman tell you, I'm gonna give you oral sex from the back. It's aggressive. It's just like a man telling you that. And you know what? You might be like, oh shit, I like that. A little spiciness. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it comes with balance, right? So I'm not saying that I'm down with some, 3 women or 4 women pull up in the car and pulling out the, you know what I'm saying, pulling out the pistol, telling me get down or lay down. But I think there's a border between what you just said. You said cosplaying. I tend to say roles and responsibilities because for so long, men have had to be the strongest person in a relationship. And now I think women are identifying that they can also be a strong person in a relationship. They just haven't found that balance on how it's beneficial to the relationship. Again, sometimes when we do things, we overcorrect, course correct, go too far to the right, too far to the left. And that's when, again, it comes about being that balance piece. And, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, if you got my 6, I got your 6, you know what I'm saying? We don't necessarily have anything to worry about because we're both covering each other's back. You know what I mean? L7 squared. We're making sure all those things are good to go. But if you aren't, and we don't have the same objectives and goals in mind, and that comes into communication, that comes in people want to have a relationship longer than 14 days without cutting people off, actually getting to know people, getting to know their quirks, getting to know, okay, when you bob, I weave, your yin to your yang, all those different things. I don't think we put enough in a relationship to develop into those things and see how we can build and become a better team, of helping each other. So yeah, I think you're 100% correct, man. That might be it. The gender lines are blurred, and instead of people thinking the respect's going to come with the gender, they should just get more in touch with themselves and identify that people will respect them as individuals and what they have to bring to the team or to the table.
One of them said they was gonna tuck my dick from the back. I ain't never had that ever happen to me. I'm trying to see what that be like. Right there, look, be that.
I knew that shit was going to be useful at some point.
Right, keep it to the useful. Right.
Ladies, I know it ain't all of you, but I'm gonna keep it a whole buck with you right now. Don't ever like 10, 15, 20, 15, 17 years ago, if you would have said this shit to me, it would have been a wrap. It would have been up. You would have been on my roster. You would have been in my phone. You would have been Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You wouldn't have got a relationship. I wouldn't have treated you like anything other than I'm gonna treat you exactly how you came at me. You think that shit right there is getting back at somebody? It's not. It ain't getting back at no dude. We don't care about that shit. We want our nut, period. Let me get mine off and you go on about your business. That's me 15 plus years ago. Now it's a turn off. It's nasty. It's spiritually sickening because I know where your mouth has been. I know where your vessel has been. You've been playing around dancing in the dark with a couple of people and you got some spirits on you, and I don't want none of that shit to rub off on me. I'm mindful of that now. Back then, I wouldn't have cared. You wouldn't have hurt my feelings. You wouldn't have. You thinking you out here doing all of the pegging and all that? No, you're not. Men, most men, I'm not saying all, but a large majority of men, they want affection. They want a release, period. I just put up a short where the family walked in on their son whacking off. It was his birthday. Now it was his birthday. He was blurred. It was blurred, but it was like he was watching the whole movie. By all means, that's just innate in a lot of us until we grow out of that and realize there's more to life than just that. But you're not really doing the damage that you think you're doing. Actually, you're hurting yourself more doing this. Really, you're putting more bodies under your belt.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I think it's important, to just talk about expectations, between genders, communication dynamics. You know what I mean? Like, again, even the young man in the video, I don't know the rapper's name, but he sounded like he was even taking it back a little bit. Like, whoa, he's about to throttle a little bit. You're a little too aggressive. So I mean, again, it's just something that needs to probably just be talked about. And then you got to look at, the music. You got to look at the videos. You got to look at all these things, the over sexualized content that's just been out there, and it just you in a world where you asked earlier, is it fame, notoriety? What is it that you want? And attention is the new currency. And that's what people want. People don't even want to take the time to develop a business online. They care more about having likes and followers. I've talked to quite a few professionals out there. One of the biggest ones that's out there right now online, especially on TikTok, is the realtor community. And if you look out there at the realtor community, you got a lot of beautiful people out there showing the homes. They got millions of followers. But that don't necessarily translate into the actual money they're generating, within their business. But is that even what they're out there searching for? Is the money, or is it they're looking for the followers and then it generate the money from the followers in the online community? So it's just such a large gap out here. And again, it just goes back to, tapping in and understanding the community and understanding what's going on. So that way, when you address somebody, you can actually meet them where they are, because expecting them to understand you and to meet you where you are, especially if we're, coming from an older demographic, it's just not going to happen. And everybody just don't have the same objectives, man. Some people want to get paid. Some people want to establish a business. Some people just want to be, online rich. It used to be hood rich. Now that shit's internet rich. Well, whatever the terminology you want to call it, they care more about the followers and the likes online than actually the currency and the other things that are flowing in actual real life. So again, you just got to find that happy medium, man. And
Yeah. Zay, you're a famous rapper, right? You just leave a concert. You got your entourage. It's 11 o'clock p.m. Car pulls up. There's 4 ladies. Window comes down. And one of them stick their head out the window. They say, "Hey, I'm one of them." How you reacting to that?
Not even gonna lie. Caught off by it, I'd probably be down for it. Not gonna lie. But I feel like that's the lust talking. So if it's too good to be true, it's a trap. That's all I'm gonna say. So I'm gonna keep it there.
I know what you're talking about. I had a conversation with somebody about that before, because he was riding in traffic. A car full of girls. They was trying to holler at him, and they wanted him to follow them back to their spot. Nah, brother, No, that's a no. You don't do that at all. We too lustful, really. My I In a perfect world, the ladies would be having these conversations more or less. The reason why I felt like we could do this is because we're going to give you an honest perspective of how we view it. When you move and maneuver like this on social media and you got your ass out and you talking about how you eat ass and you do all of this crazy crap, do you know how that look and how that sound? I get some people are just going to be rage baiting and they're just going to say stuff just to, oh, you're HOE, you this. That's not the point or the purpose of this. You sound dumb. You look foolish. No self-respecting woman out here who has a business and she's making a name for herself and she carries herself appropriately is proud of what you're doing. She's probably going to be dismissive of it. She might not speak on it a lot. I know I can't think of her actual Felicia Rashad. She said a few words about this type of behavior, and y'all gave her all type of smoke. Y'all didn't like that. They couldn't stand the fact that she said something. But my thing is, if women can't speak on the problems, then who can speak on them? Or are we just all supposed to just shut the hell up while y'all implode? So what do you do with that, Zay? What do you do with that when nobody can say nothing? We just let y'all all just freeball it, and we just let you just go out here and tell everybody that this is how it's supposed to be, this is how you're supposed to dress, this is how you're supposed to act, and leave us alone. But the whole time you got all the smoke for men, and you can tell us how to dress. You can tell us when our hairline is receding, we too short, all this and all that. My man earlier, he went and got 6 inches added to his legs so he could be taller. Spent $180,000 to get the operation just so he can acclimate to y'all needs and desires. Men go above and beyond for y'all. You telling me y'all can't meet nobody halfway? It's just all for y'all or nothing. What do you do with that? But
yeah, man, you gotta find some people that actually care, man. You know what I mean? You can't just again, it goes back to the law of the lid, trying to pour it into people that don't want to be poured into. And that's the biggest thing right now is, you know, coming from a standpoint, you can always educate and show awareness. But again, it just depends on what they want to do with the information. There's a reason why they're out there conducting themselves that way. I'm sure their parents, you know, guardians or whoever ain't 100%, you know, invested into how they're acting. Or they might not have got the necessary love, because we've done quite a few videos saying how people haven't been receiving the love that they should have, coming from broken homes, et cetera, et cetera. But it just, you know, as a community, if it's not a healthy environment and you see it and you're not intrigued or turned on by it, I mean, you can try to educate, but then I'm sure at that particular point come a hail of insults and disrespect and a bunch of other things that can escalate to something else. So as a community, you just got to want to do better, and you got to want better for yourselves. And again, it just goes back to what we talked about, you know, trying to take that shortcut, you know, offering that type of activity what type of value do you have within yourself? What do you expect in return? You know, I mean, so again, it's knowing your worth, knowing your value, and then everything that you do, your representation of yourself, and you market yourself and your brand is you. So every time you speak to somebody, every time you engage with somebody, it just are you Aldi's brand, a Walgreens brand, a Macy's brand? It just depends on where you value your brand. And that's unfortunate to say that, but that's just the reality that we live in, is that you are a brand marketing yourself. And you look at people and they talk about power couples, and those are the things that you have to keep in mind. How do you become a power couple? You know, you have to hold some type of value to yourself. You have to have something to bring to the table in order to leverage negotiation and said power. So depending on what level you're at, you can be a power couple at any level. You know, again, it's about knowing your value, your self-worth, and how to leverage those things. And I think that's the problem, is we as a people, is we don't understand our value. We don't understand our self-worth. And then we don't understand the things that we could demand, and we can, you know, the things that we can change with the power that we have. And it just comes back to education and awareness, just in my opinion.
Zay, we kind of touch on spirituality a lot. Is there anything positive about idolatry to you? Has there ever been an example of, well, general question, has there ever been a time in history where idolatry ever worked out for anybody? And I mean, I could be wrong. I personally have never seen it. If you know, you know, if you've ever been down that road before where you kind of had something that you kind of worship, it doesn't mean that as a human being. It could be a cup of coffee. It could be a cigarette. It could be your favorite TV program. It could be a curtain. It could be your vacuum cleaner. Like
I'll give you an example. Man, when I was younger and I got my first car, being from Chicago, I used to watch that thing in the snow, the rain. I worship it. I idolize it. I wouldn't let certain people ride in it. You know what I mean? I worship and idolize the vehicle. I would ride in it for like 7, 8. This some gas was $5 a gallon. You know what I mean? I mean, 98 cents a gallon. You get $5 and fill that shit up. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, man, you can ride all day long. But then, man, what happened was, I won't explain it in totality, but the vehicle ended up being destroyed because I had worship and put so much value into the vehicle itself. And I didn't just appreciate the fact that I had a vehicle. I had a means of transportation in comparison to my peers. And so that was one of the things that I had in hindsight, because I didn't realize that, obviously, going through the process. But maybe about 4 or 5 years later, I had thought about it like, man, I had an opportunity. I was given this and I didn't appreciate it. It wasn't, and I didn't appreciate it. I worshiped it. It was like, man. And then I picked and chose who could ride in it, who couldn't ride in it, treated people a certain way. And so it was as easily as I got it, as easily it was taken away from me. So, but that was like at the age of like 18, 19 years old. So long enough to understand that not all losses are losses. Some losses are lessons. So it was beneficial to me.
I had a similar situation with a vehicle. Actually, though, I got stuck at work because I don't know how the battery just died. It was a brand new car. It wasn't even that old. Don't know how. I think the problem was I kept on doing things that I wanted to do outside of what I was asked to do, what God wanted me to do. I was chasing after stuff. So in order for me to get humbled, one day I was getting ready to get off of work, so I had to close the whole building down. There wasn't nobody else there but me. I get in the car, the sun is down. Nothing. So I ended up sleeping in the car overnight. I had to stay there. I couldn't have nothing done until the next day. Still had to work, but I had to have the car towed and still be at work. So it was like, yeah, a soft ass, man. Hard head, soft ass. That's what they say.
Facts.
And I think a lot of adults right now, they do that too. And it might not be a car, but worshiping people, you see how ugly it turned, folks. It turned people into monsters. They'll stalk your page and come if you make a comment under anybody's page and one of their fans are monitoring their comment section, they'll leave there and then come to your page just to see if you got money. Oh, how you gonna talk about them when you ain't got this? You look at your profile picture. You ain't even. You really took all of that time out of your life to come invest in somebody else because they made it. Nah. But my final thoughts. That ain't a good look, ladies. It ain't. Maybe we can't reverse this. Maybe it's too far gone. According to prophecy, it's going to get worse anyway. I would love for this to kind of get on a decline, but I highly doubt that anybody, especially hardened hearts, are going to listen to this because you feel like you're right about everything. You can't be told no. You can't be corrected. Like I'm still in the place where you can say something to me, and I'm like, well, that makes sense. You know what? I might be wrong. A lot of y'all can't do that. You get angry, you get triggered, you be ready to fight. It's not even that big of a deal. It's like I'm trying to help. Any last words? Any final thoughts, man? Before we get up out of here, shout out to Chef.
You know, I wrote a song about a situation just like this. It's called "Why Do You Lie to Me?" Because these women be lying sometimes. But yeah, check it out. It's on Apple Music or platforms. But yeah, in my opinion, yeah, Deep is right, man. It's not a good look, bro. It's not. It's not a good look. And no matter which way you try to, put it, it's not a good look. I agree, 100%.
All right, good job tonight, fellas. I appreciate it. It was a good chat.
Likewise. I don't know. I think we answered your question, bro. I'm most certain Coach answered your question. But like, just to say this, if you put anything above and over God, you're definitely worshiping and idolizing it. Yeah. I've done it way too much in my lifetime, way too much. And I've eaten crow a lot. That's been my Thanksgiving dinner a few years straight. Crow. Real talk. But yeah, man, good show, man. Again, I thank y'all both for being here tonight. for the words of wisdom. I'm going to immediately chop this up. You'll see a clip or two coming real soon. We got some feedback on a couple of them drinks from the other day. But we working, and y'all enjoy the rest of y'all night. And we'll be back tomorrow, Lord willing. Y'all take it easy, drive safe, stay warm, and we out. Do me a solid before y'all go, if you don't mind.
Put the goddamn button back.
Peace.
Peace.